And following the service, we also have our book study for Loving What Is. Looks like this. There's only 2 left. We can always order more, that's right. And you can join at any time. This is our second little get-together, but you can join at any time because we have a lot of experiential stuff with that book study where you work with the Loving What Is worksheets and discuss with each other, that kind of thing. So it's just been kind of fun already, just the first time. So I invite anyone who has an interest in that to join us over in the strong room, and we will have maybe a little something to eat and drink briefly, like a cookie or something like that, to tide you over till we're done at 1. Choir practice will be this Wednesday evening. Wednesday evening is always a great time here. We have meditation every Wednesday evening. I remind you of that in the chapel. And at 6, and choir practice starts at 6:30 here in the sanctuary. All right, and coming up this week, you may have seen the posters hanging around with our friend Judy Jungi's picture on. And Judy's having a health challenge, and we're having a benefit for her to shower her with love on Saturday the 23rd. Goes from 5 to 8 p.m. You can look at this flyer out in the bulletin board for more detail. But we'll be here at the center, and there's going to be all kinds of things for lots and lots of people, any kind of an interest you might have. There's going to be food, silent auction, there'll be chair massage and Reiki, and there'll be wonderful music because Johnny and Tom and Nina will be performing, as well as Jonas Magrum, who many of us know, who's been here at church with his guitar. So wonderful things that evening. If you would meet after the service, Linda Blacksmith out in the foyer area or over in the Sacred Ground. She's got a sign-up sheet for volunteers to help with that, and for bake sale items, because we want to do a bake sale in addition to the pulled pork supper. So that will be a wonderful time just to shower Judy with love and let her know that we all support her in her challenges on her journey. And then save the date time in May. May, we have Martha Creek coming back to see us again, to work with us over the weekend, and to provide the Sunday morning lesson. If none of you have met Martha Creek from Bug Tussle, I'm telling y'all, you are in for a treat. She just has so much energy. She's so much fun. So mark those dates. That will be the 13th, 14th, and 15th. She'll be working on empowered living workshops, plus doing the Sunday morning service and a Sunday workshop after. And her work focuses in part of it on Loving What Is, which is why we chose that for our book study before her arrival. So that's it. All right, for all the announcements, let's just settle in and gather our energies together in prayer here this morning. We bring our energies together at this time as all those who love the truth teachings of unity and live those in our daily lives. This is a time where we can focus on all the negatives and the awful things in the world, or we can look at all the love of God that's present in those situations. I still see the picture in my mind of bringing that baby out of the wreckage in Japan, and all the people that tenderly passed that baby from one to the next and saved it, and then the grandpa and the father who found it after that earthquake. And we hold those in Ecuador where the earthquake has moved. We hold them in our hearts this morning. And we know that wherever there are problems and wars going on, that there's always those who are affirmative and hold the hand of someone who is suffering or who is having a challenge. And we know in our hearts that we want to be one of those people. We cast out all of those hateful thoughts and those negative things, just like we're now raking off the old leaves from the garden, pulling up the weeds, the dandelions, which are the very first to pop up, kissing that beautiful yellow dandelion flower and saying, thank you for bringing color and life back into my life. So grateful, just so grateful to be here, to be alive, and to be sharing my life with all the people who are actually the hands and the feet and the heart of God right here on earth, helping one another, loving one another. And so it is. Amen. All right, I would like to read to you a daily word reading today, which comes from a little book called Simple Living. Yeah, Simple Living. I release and I am open. It is said that nature abhors a vacuum. So as you make space and then stand in faith and trust, certain that something positive will come into your life to replace what you have released, you invite new opportunities, new people, and new experiences into your world. You open yourself up to seeing and moving into the next facet of your life, and you're able to move along your path gently. Let's consider your home. The most important thing is to create an environment that supports you. Everything, as we know, is energy and has a vibration. Wood in your home used to be a tree. The bricks used to be earth. Because everything is energy, your home is a living thing. Everything in your house has a specific energy of its own. When you treat your home with respect, you also treat yourself with respect. You had a certain energy about you when you acquired each item in your home, and you continue to feel that energy later. The easiest way to clear out clutter is to take everything out of the room, pantry, closet, basement, wherever all these things are gathered up, that you can. Just clear out that clutter and put back only what you use or feel that you need, or that has a good kind of sentiment that you want to hold on to repurpose all the rest of the area. And so it is. I release and I am open to the new. You may be seated. And now we'll hear from Sarah about what the youth ministry will be doing.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. We are going to be working on understanding. Last week we worked on giving forgiveness, talking about what that entailed, what that felt like, and for the person being forgiven and also for ourselves. And now we're going to talk about when we need to be forgiven and talk about how that feels and what kind of experience that is and how the other people might feel. And we're talking about compassion. And so that's kind of a deeper concept that I'm thinking of a lot of creative ways and different mediums and experiences for the children to process that. And I want to thank a lot of people who have been helping throughout the months, and especially today when we have our beloved Jody away and we have Jean away. And I've had so many people step up, Linda and Paul, Tia, Barbara, Tracy, Laura, so many people have gathered around to help support the program, and I appreciate it so much. And I just want to extend our thanks. We are walking in the light. Yeah, let's do light, because we feel light, and we're going to be talking about releasing and that forgiveness. Thank you.
So we are walking in the light. We are walking in the light.
Yes.
We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We
All right, now we have some special music.
Actually, we don't.
I see that you did,
What are we doing?
because I see they're not up.
You're talking now. Oh.
You're talking.
All right.
So for special music, we have.
I was there when we had that conversation, wasn't I? I was actually there. I'm not going to say present. My mind's completely distracted because for the Judy Jungi fundraiser, somebody said bake sale. And Ray, I'm thinking that if you were willing to bring, say, a rhubarb pie or a triple berry pie, I would write $100 check to the fundraiser for that pie. Do we have a commitment? Oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't know if any of you have ever had any of Ray's pie, but from time to time in the past when we've had auctions, Ray has donated pies. And I remember one auction in particular, I don't remember how many years ago, but I think there were 2 pies there. And I was circling the bids, covering my, territory, my turf. And there was another congregant who I discovered partway through the evening was circling the same bid sheets. And I don't remember what I ended up at, but I remember going home and Bill was like, how much did you pay for that pie? I'm like, it's a Ray Smith pie. But I don't think I ended up at 100, but I'll give Judy $100 check for one of your pies. Because God is my source, and I love Ray's pies. Spring cleaning part 2. I feel like this is a little ironic. We covered parts of the topic last week, and there were so many comments about it after the service and even throughout the week that I discovered there's so much more to cover. I just think that's ironic that we didn't say enough about having too much stuff. It's like we didn't say enough about that. So as we know, we are talking about, many of us are doing more than talking. We're actually participating in a decluttering and clearing unneeded stuff out of our lives and simplifying our lives. I did hear I was thinking over the comments I heard Sunday and this week. One person came up to me and said they didn't collect clutter. Oh, that's my mindfulness bell. Let me just mute my phone. One person. Is there anybody else that's going to cop to not having any clutter? My spouse tentatively put his hand up in the air, and that's completely untrue. Just pointing that out. So one of the other comments that somebody made is, well, what about, all the stuff in our house isn't just my stuff. And so what do you do with that? Well, here's what I did on Tuesday when I was loading my Honda for my carry-out load. There were a couple of pieces there, window fans. Before we replaced all of our windows several years ago, we had window fans in every bedroom, and we haven't used them for, 10 or 15 years. And so I very quietly carried them downstairs while Bill was in the other room and took them through the kitchen and put them in the car because I was afraid he was going to say, don't give those away. So it's completely the wrong tactic on respecting our other family members in decluttering and in clearing, because our stuff is our stuff, right? And that decision is up to us. If there's someone else in the house, a spouse, a partner, parent, or we could have stuff, anybody have stuff from their children who are grown and long gone? I have whittled that over the years, actually. I have whittled that really effectively. You know, when someone's at the house, I bring out the box and I say, okay, this is going to be in the house for one more week. So if you want anything out of this box, you might as well take it with you because the other stuff is going somewhere. So the whole point about that is it's a delicate process. Could be a marriage breaker in some relationships. Don't do it without permission, and use your best negotiating skills on what can be moved up and moved out. As Jan mentioned in the reading today, everything, every article, every piece in our homes is substance. It's made up of energy. And so when we hoard more than we use or more than we need, we are surrounding ourselves with what is essentially dead energy or dead weight. And those of us who do have clutter, everyone except the one person who do have clutter, we know that there is a burden to that. You know, when you walk into a room or an attic or a garage or a basement or open a cupboard door or a closet door, there's just a feeling with that when there's too much there or when it's unnecessary and unneeded. And I happen to think that one of the subconscious drivers of our over accumulation comes from an idea of lack. Because when we feel like there's not enough or we don't have enough, we're disconnected from divine flow. And connecting with flow is a deep understanding that we co-create with spirit. Last week, we talked about a few of the divine laws that have to do with accumulation and cluttering. And the most familiar is the law of giving and receiving, the law of circulation. And essentially, this law says that substance or energy must have an inlet and an outlet in consciousness. It has to be able to move. And so when we're storing unused stuff, either in our homes or we're actually paying someone else to store more of our more stuff. When we're storing unused stuff, we are surrounding ourselves with that dead energy and we're blocking the flow. We're standing in the doorway of the outlet and we're plugging up that universal outlet and we are standing on the hose of circulation. I mentioned this quote last week from Catherine Ponder, a great prosperity writer, and she said, in order to demonstrate true prosperity, we must get rid of what we do not want to make way for what we do want. And again, as Jan mentioned in the reading, we form a vacuum for prosperity by cleaning out and cleaning up. So it's overwhelming for me anyway, when I walk up to our attic or I walk to our basement or I walk into my office and I only have 1, 2, 3, 4 bookshelves in my office. And that's just, you know, New Thought books and Unity books. All my fun books are fun. That was not the right way to say that. All of my, you know, novels and things, lighter books are downstairs. But anyway, you walk into one area, look at your whole house, it seems really overwhelming. Choose one. Choose clothing, choose books, choose a closet, choose paper, choose one area. The attic, the basement, one area, and stay with it until it's complete. the commitment that I make is a couple hours a week that I'm willing to invest in sorting and decluttering. And the trick is, I heard in the reading that you take everything out of the room. And I have a friend who has done that. And I've never actually, I guess I did that in my office one time. Because it's an amazing energy when you completely clear out a room. And then you have to touch every item before you put it back in. And this is the important piece. If you don't have the energy or the strength or the wherewithal to clear out the room, it's important that you touch every single article in that closet or in that drawer or in that room, not just glancing over it, but actually touching. And there's two questions to ask. Have I used this item in the last 6 months? Now, here's a disclaimer. Holiday decorations don't apply, right? Because we haven't used our Christmas stuff in 6 months or our Halloween stuff or whatever. That's clearly, did I put this out last year? Did I get it out of the bin? And so we touch it. Have I used this item in the last 6 months? If the answer is no, might be time to repurpose that and to put it in circulation. And the second question is, does this bring me joy? Do I feel good having this tchotchke on the bookcase? Do I feel good having every single book that author ever wrote? Am I going to sit down and reread these books at some point? If I make the commitment, and I did this just the last time I went through the downstairs bookshelf, I had 2 large boxes of books, and they're novels and writers that I just love. But then I decided, they're not out of print. I'll be able to find them again. So does it bring me joy to still have it in my house? If there's not a true yes to that, then it really has to go. If we haven't used it in 6 months or a year for holiday stuff, and we don't feel joy from it, it really has to go. And the other trick is we have the box right there or the plastic tub right there, and it goes to the car that day, not in another closet, not in another room to tumble over later and resort. So it goes in the car and goes out the door. And can we please, when we say get rid of stuff, I really like to think about repurposing. Because I know the really easy and thoughtless way to do it is we'll just quote unquote throw it away. And there is no such thing as away. We're throwing it in the earth in a landfill. Restore, I've heard of that place. You should give Bill a part-time job down there. Do you have employee discounts? Yeah. So Restore takes, we've sent furniture down there and, we've bought, I don't know what he's been buying lately for the restaurant, but tons of stuff. Furniture, home building goods, appliances. Hardware, building materials, tools. We got a couple of those in our basement. So there's Restore, which is great for all that kind of big stuff, Goodwill, Salvation Army and all that, consignment shops. So I really, really urge us to get conscious as we're decluttering and clearing that we do it in an earth care responsible way. I heard, where's Chris and Vicki? I heard that there are plans afoot for a circulation sale coming up sometime late spring, early summer. So they're getting together a team on that to organize that, which will be perfect because we can bring things over to the garage that can go in circulation and be repurposed. What we're talking about is creating balance in our lives and asking the question, where in our lives do we hold on to too much stuff? If we find ourselves lacking in one area of our lives, it's wise to do an inventory to see where we're overloaded. Where are we stuck in the dead energy? And our main areas to ponder are career, finance, health and wholeness, relationships, and spiritual. So we touched on finance last week with the idea of no longer accumulating stuff on a credit card. And one person commented to me this week that this one idea really helped them realize that their debt is scattered over way too many credit cards. And it creates such mental clutter. And I thought that was just a really great insight to recognize that there's so many things going on there with really one item, which is credit. So good insight and obviously some habits to change there, right? Consolidation. And I noticed in the comments last Sunday that some folks picked up on the idea that clearing out doesn't have to do just with material stuff. A couple of people quite wistfully mentioned relationships as they sort of bit their bottom lip. They said, you know, there's clearing in relationships too. And I said, well, yes, I do know that. So this topic naturally comes up in spiritual counseling sessions. We could be talking about a spouse, a partner, a family member, a friend. And what most commonly comes up in this relationship idea is the awareness that we no longer feel nourished. We no longer feel like that inlet and that outlet is happening in that relationship. So there's some interesting things to look at there, because when it starts to feel like I give way more than I get, and sometimes that is simply a skewed perspective. So it's good to do a reality check with the Byron Katie stuff, actually. And maybe sometimes it's just like we feel like we don't have that much in common anymore. Can we all think back to like friends that we used to hang out with, people that we used to do stuff with, and now we kind of think, oh, I haven't seen so-and-so for decades. And there wasn't any big traumatic, breakup thing. It was just, we drifted apart in our interests. So whatever the cause feels like, if relationships is an area that we intend to do some work with, whatever the cause feels like, and trust me, it's not about them ever. It's about what's going on with us and where we are in consciousness. It's important for us to pay attention to that feeling and that question about relationships, because it could be a universal nudge for us to check in. Are we part of the flow in our relationships, or are we blocking the flow by encircling ourselves with too many of the type of people who don't serve our spiritual good? The type of people that just take a lot of energy for us to be around. If our divine wisdom does tell us that it's time to clear out in that area, it is a process, of course. It's a very spiritual process. It's not, we don't put them in a tub and take them down to Goodwill and go, here, you deal with her. So if you are working in that area and would like a little perspective on that, come see me. And finally, I'd like to address our spiritual health and wholeness, which of course I feel has everything to do with our physical, mental health and wholeness. And I want to touch today on one particularly vital area, and it's interesting because that's what they're working with in the youth ministry. One of the key arenas of spiritual clutter is unforgiveness, withholding forgiveness, and holding bitterness, holding resentment. Our phrase about drinking the poison, waiting for them to drop. So anytime we're holding that energy, it's akin to holding stuff that doesn't serve us, holding stuff that we don't need. This stuff is toxic because we are suffocating ourselves with negative spiritual energy. And generally, when we're in this place of unforgiveness or withholding love, it's because we feel like we're a victim of someone else's words or someone else's actions. So it's a really spiritually toxic position in which we trap ourselves. So we escape that trap by forgiving. We escape the trap by giving up our right, our need to be a victim, to be powerless. Because to forgive is to release that toxic clutter that we're holding emotionally. So for those of us, 99.8 of us, who cannot find one corner of our house that has a speck of clutter, I invite us to turn our attention to the ideas of career and finance and relationship in our spiritual household. In addition to clearing out material clutter, a spiritual cluttering practice is vital, and I might say more vital. And that's the interesting thing that happens with the cleaning. As we're doing it physically, it's happening metaphysically. It's happening spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. You know, we call it spring cleaning, but what if we didn't wait until spring each year to declutter? What if we planned to declutter at the change of each season? Or at the beginning of a new month? Or at the beginning of a new week? Or at the beginning of a new day? Can anybody imagine decluttering daily?
Yeah.
Yeah? Who said yeah? Oh, wow. I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. And I'm so far from that place.
I got a whole truckload of stuff out there right now, so.
Oh, is it going somewhere? Is it going to restore? So however often you decide to declutter, and whatever area we decide is the right one for us to start, let's know that we are divinely guided in this process. And as we settle into meditation this morning, let us relax in our space with the idea, knowing that we have all the oxygen available to us that we could possibly use. We have the means, the system, the energy, the commitment to decluttering our lives, to simplify our lives, knowing that as we begin those projects on the outer with the material possessions, that an internal spiritual cleansing is happening. And if our area of decluttering is relationship, we really invite quickening and awakening our faculty of divine love, divine wisdom, and elimination, knowing that we are guided by spirit in our process. So as we become still, let us be carried in the rhythm of the tones, the vibration of life. And that right there, my friends, is the feeling of space, of lightness and joy. And so it is. Amen. That was beautiful. Jan, you didn't pick up papers, did you? I'm just, oh, I see. Under Mother Mary. Now comes the time that we bless our tithes and offerings. I want to take this opportunity to recognize that we have many, many folks who are on a program that we call Auto Tithe. And we'll be having an Auto Tithe drive coming up in May. So if you are participating, you're invited to reassess your percentage. If you're not yet participating, it's a really nice, easy program to get into. And it creates consistent flow, which we all love, don't we? It's good to know that money comes and goes, comes and goes. So we bless our good. There's an affirmation in the bulletin. I invite you to note with me. It's on the right-hand side. It starts with the words, divine love. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give and all that I receive. I am grateful. Now we have some flute. And you want to let people know what this instrument is called?
So this is a, I got this out of a spaceship that crashed in Iowa. No, this is called a pan. It's made of metal, it's heavy. It's called a hand pan, and they originated in Switzerland more than 10, 15 years ago, and it's kind of an adaptation of a steel drum. You kind of get some of those tones in there, a lot more warmer though, a lot more mellow. And when they came out in Switzerland, or from Switzerland, at festivals, they used to go for about $200 or $300. Now they go for eBay. The original ones, this is a knockoff one. The originals go for upwards of 15 grand. So you have to go on a lottery, and if you're selected, then you have to travel to Switzerland to get them, and then come back to the States with them. And mostly those that end up with them, the original ones, are music therapists. You know, if you're a performing artist, they don't want to put them in the hands of performing artists. They want to use them for music for healing. So that's what that is. And I want to introduce another instrument. This is, of course, a Native American flute, but this one I got on a clearance sale. It was half off. Not really. Part of it's missing. Oh, bad joke. I know. I know. Buy one, get one half off, I guess. That'll work. So this is it's got a really unique tuning, and it's two flutes in different keys playing at the same time. So you get these really unique harmonies happening. And I'll just share a little improv piece that I've been working on. It's kind of morphing into something every time that I play it. So this will be our offertory song. Thank you.
And we join our hearts in gratitude this morning for our awareness of the universal flow of good, knowing that as we participate, both as inlet and outlet, that our prosperity, our abundance consciousness increases 10,000-fold. And so we bless the generous hearts and hands who shared God's good this morning. We see these gifts pressed down, overflowed, and dedicated to the work of Spirit. Always, always, always giving thanks. And so it is. Amen and amen. Thank you. Loving what is, west end of the building, on the right in the strong classroom, great discussion group and great material. All are welcome to that. And remember Judy's event this weekend. Her birthday is this week, and I'm not pulling the date up out of my head. Is it 19th? So find her on Facebook and send her some love. Okay, Nina, I think we have a peace song. If you'd like to stand as you are able, the lyrics are on your green insert.